Federal government and organized labor agree on 70,000 naira minimum wage. FCT Police Commissioner continues patrol of territory boundaries, visits Abuja Area Command. And emergency responders engage with local communities for effective disaster risk mitigation. Hello and welcome to the news at 1 on NTA Channel 5, Abuja. I am Mariam George Jitubo. You can follow us live on YouTube at NTA Channel 5, Abuja. Now, the protracted disagreement over the prospective new minimum wage has finally been put to rest as federal government and organized labor unions agreed on a new minimum wage of 70,000 naira. The parties reached this agreement after a meeting chaired by President Bola Tinubu at the State House. State House correspondent Musbaudan Wahab reports.
The federal government and the labor unions picked up from where they left off just last week, a week ago, where they discussed about what is supposed to be the new minimum wage for the labor in Nigeria. Some of these participants came out with some smiles indicating that we have some good news to tell Nigerians.
The latest is that we now have a new proposed national minimum wage, which is 70,000 naira, that the President will transmit to the National Assembly and hopefully will pass into law. Of course, this has been a very painstaking effort. Recall that the tripartite committee submitted a report recommending the sum of 62,000 naira to the President. But the President, in his wisdom, further consulted with organized labor, consulted with the subnationals, and now consulted also with the organized labor. And all of us are in agreement, considering the situation in the country. A new national minimum wage of 70,000 is fair enough. Of course, we all know that there is some economic challenges in the country, but we also know that we have to start somewhere. But more important is that the President has also shortened the cycle of negotiation. Instead of the usual 5-year cycle, now the negotiation of new national minimum wage will be done every 3 years. This will shorten the cycle, and the labor movement is very excited about that. They've accepted what the President has said in the spirit of patriotism and nationhood, so that together this country can move forward. We cannot continue to negotiate forever. So I'm happy and I'm glad to report that today the federal government and the organized labor have reached this common ground.
Right. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for this privilege. And that's it. The new minimum wage will be 70,000 naira, and the leaders of NLC and TUC also briefed the State House journalists. Let's take a listen to what they said earlier.
We are taking this with mixed feeling because of the situation of the economy, but we have to move ahead. Despite the situation, and the negotiation can linger, coming from 62 to 70. And then with the promise that we'll come back soon to negotiate it. We are taking it back to our constituency to see how we can get a buy-in.
We made a case for both the SANU and SANU and NASU. We made a case for them that the President should, as a father of the nation, should look at it compassionately and do so that we'll not have a case where universities will be closed again.
And so that is the latest situation. The agreement is done and now left to the executive to prepare a bill to be sent to the National Assembly, informing them of these new figures and numbers to now be approved by the National Assembly for workers to begin to receive a new minimum wage. And of course, remember that a bill had been sent to the National Assembly for amendments to the 2024 budget to give allowance or to take care of any possible increase to the earlier submitted figures in the 2024 appropriation.
And talking security, Commissioner of Police FCT Bennett Igwe says the new policing strategy in the territory is anchored on deliberate sustenance of the heat to keep decimate enemies at bay. The police commissioner gave this indication when he led his management team on duty tour of Abuja Area Command as part of his continued patrol of the territory's boundaries. Onoti Yakubu tells us more.
Abuja is the gateway between the Federal Capital Territory and the southern part of the country. As such, the community holds a pivotal place in the security architecture of the nation's capital. The recent attempted robbery of a commercial bank in the area council by a 22-man syndicate utilizing improvised explosives, which was halted by coordinated security response, is still very fresh in the mind of residents. These factors, amongst others, necessitated the duty tour of the area command by the Commissioner of Police.
This area used to be a volatile place, and because of what we are doing in policing, which they have come to imbibe and appreciate, and strongly doing what we have asked them to do, and with our support, they have maintained the area calm.
Abuja Area Council Administration, the area command, and a host of residents are optimistic about the new policing mantra and vigor in the last couple of months, saying it has brought much respite to the security architecture of the nation's capital.
When some hoodlums came to see if they can try themselves by attacking the first bank, and they were ably rebuffed and arrested, and some of them dealt with. We thank you, sir, for your able leadership, sir.
To applaud you and your officers for quick response to any distress call from our communities.
Since your assumption, you have been following the trends of good work that you have been doing for people of FCT and its environs.
While the visit was to enable the CP close ranks with the men and take stock of challenges for enhanced leadership, a handful of the area command's officers have been exemplary in their duties and were so honored. Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
Against the background of the recent spate of human-induced disasters witnessed in the FCT, stakeholders have engaged the local communities across the area councils to build up their capacities towards effective disaster risk mitigation and management. This was at the third quarter activation meeting sensitization workshop in Abuja. Ramatu Abdullahi reports.
With Abuja recently witnessing different shades of disasters, including building collapse, flash floods, and fire outbreaks, NEMA, in collaboration with FCT Emergency Management Agency, are sensitizing the local emergency management committee, local diverse volunteers, and town criers, who are the first responders at community level in the event of disaster. Acting Director General of FCT Emergency Management Agency, Florence Wenegeme, says the idea is to enable them carry out early response to save lives before the arrival of the agency is concerned.
Our critical stakeholders being with us simply means that we are going to make sure it gets to the grassroots, and they will also know where to come in at any point in time.
And NEMA is advocating for collaboration and cooperation among citizens, among stakeholders, so that we will reduce disaster.
Coordinator of AMSI, Chief Felix Obua, stressed the need for the local communities to avoid disaster-inducing activities such as indiscriminate falling of trees, dumping of refuse, open defecations, among others.
It's a need that these volunteers, the divers, should be taken care of. I did ask what are the necessary intensive provided for this problem, because if they are well taken care of, most of what they say in the mitigation will be taken care of. Just like example, they did request about life jacket. These are supposed to be provided without even asking for.
So once there is an incident, there should be swift response by all the responders.
There were paper presentations on waste management, emergency response, and diving techniques by resource persons. Ramatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Similarly, consequent to recent disasters experienced in the FCT and around the world that have posed challenge to lives and loss of property, frantic efforts are underway to mitigate future occurrence. This was the submission of the FCT Emergency Management Department in providing solutions to disasters, especially during the rainy season. Cecilia Julius reports.
According to facts by the FCT Emergency Management Department, between 24th June to 13th July 2024, it has responded to 7 disaster incidents in the FCT, ranging from flooding, fire incidents, to building collapse, leaving many in great loss. This, the Acting Director General, FCT Emergency Management Department, Florence Wenegeme, says the department has put in various measures to curb future occurrence.
We have, from time to time, barricade vulnerable roads, especially during the rainy season. We barricade such roads in order to stop pedestrians and vehicular movement, in order to save lives and properties.
Speaking to journalists on investigations ongoing on recent building collapse, she called for active measures to avert future damage.
It is very important that you have your building plan, carry out integrity tests, use standard materials, use professionals, make sure you carry all the technical personnel in the build industry along.
Appreciating efforts of relevant government agencies in tackling disaster situations, she made the promise to inaugurate the FCT Press as emergency management marshals. In Abuja, Cecilia Julius, NTA News.
Away from disaster, World Day for International Justice commemorates the continuous fight for justice and accountability. Miriam Emeka-Amadi examines the impact of this celebration on Nigeria.
People who should be exempted from the law owing to their position or influence. The World Day for International Justice highlights the fundamental belief that no one is above the law, regardless of status.
International Criminal Justice Day, celebrated every year, marks the anniversary of the adoption of the Rome Statute, the founding treaty of the International Criminal Court (ICC). All the countries, including Nigeria, that agreed to adopt the statute, accepted the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court for prosecuting very serious crimes.
In any member state that there's a miscarriage of justice, they can step in. Individual can petition, organization can petition, organs of government can petition. Anything that can lead to crisis and a breach of world peace, they can petition and they can step in.
Delay in trials of criminal cases remains a major challenge confronting the nation's justice system.
The case I'm coming out of today is about 21 years old. And it's a case of a property. And that is how criminal case equally follows. If they can make it an international law, that all the member states should resolve criminal issues within a limited period of time, it will be okay. Because
everybody in the system should be up and doing, should put our hands on deck to ensure that, the justice system is being practiced.
Criminal matters will be there for 10 years. So I come to the real issue. We, the people, need to change our attitude, our way of doing things.
Allowing injustice to occur in one place sets a precedent and weakens the principles of justice system. Miriam Emeka-Amadi, NTA News.
The news at 1 on NTA Channel 5, Abuja. Ahead on the news. National Association of Women Journalists set to amplify voices of women, children, and persons with disabilities These and more in just a moment. Do stay.
Good evening, glad to have you join us.
Thanks for joining us on Weekly News Wrap.
Thank you very much for having me. And it is on that note we welcome you to today's edition of the program.
I will celebrate creativity, lasting impressions.
There's no book stating that this is the role for men.
On the news.
On the news at 7.
Daily station NTA Channel 5, Abuja. Would say have a lovely day.
Good to know you're there. The Nigerian Association of Women Journalists, NAWAJ, has commended the FCT Women Affairs Mandate Secretariat for its dedication to promoting gender equality and empowering women in the Federal Capital Territory. This came to the fore when the Secretary, Adedayo Benjamin Lani, received in audience NAWAJ officials. Hawagimba reports that the visit aims to promote gender-sensitive reporting and amplifying the voices of women in Nigeria.
Leading the members of the Nigerian Association of Women Journalists, Chairperson Bas Ita Ikpang says the visit is aimed at collaborating with the Secretariat towards training women journalists. These, she says, will enhance their skills in gender-sensitive reporting, among many other issues.
We are planning organizing a training for women and even journalists as well. And the training is going to be a combination of gender-based violence and the need for early testing, because just last week we lost a friend, a sister, and a colleague to an ailment that we later discovered was diagnosed late. So we are planning a training, a combination of two training, gender-based violence and health talks.
FCT Women Affairs Mandate Secretary Adedayo Benjamin Lani, in a response, says it is a welcome development in the right direction. She adds that the initiative of collaboration with the Secretariat will go a long way in the lives of women, the girl child, and persons with disabilities from the city.
So it's not just about GBV in the FCT. Her Excellency, the First Lady, the Renewed Hope Initiative, has emphasized the priority call to action for education. The alternative girl-child curriculum, which for people call second chance, she said, don't call it second chance. It stigmatizes the beneficiary. Just call it alternative girl-child.
Highlights of activities made by the FCT Award include World Hygienic Day, gender-based violence, cancer awareness to women in the 6 area councils, just to mention but a few. Hawagimba, NTA News.
On education, the 2024 school graduation ceremony of KFH Montessori High School was a heartwarming display of talent, confidence, and values instilled in the children, parents, teachers, and well-wishers gathered to witness the showcase of skills by graduating children who bid farewell to their alma mater. Hawagimba was there to capture the moments and shares the stories of the young achievers.
The presentation by students and pupils of KFH Montessori School, Taibat Taiwo, the school's director, could not hide her joy for the graduating students. She spoke on efforts by teachers and staff to build the capacities of the children, emphasizing that the children had become well-groomed to impact positively to society after the completion of a successful educational career.
My message to them is basically, like I've been telling them always, I wish them all the very best. They could continue to be good ambassadors of this great citadel of learning. I wish them all the best.
And for the graduating students, most importantly those that are going to high school,
I can say that they have been well prepared, they are well built.
And we're happy about this because we have groomed them to what they are today, seeing them from when they were small to this particular age they are.
The children made various presentations with the parents not left out as they joined to participate in some. For the graduating students, they say their joy knows no bounds, having successfully completed this stage in their academic career.
Because we are going to the world. I feel so excited and happy. I feel fine knowing that I will be in a safe place in Kids Fun House. I feel really excited and happy.
I feel elated because it has been a long journey.
Most delighted to be part of this family called KFH. My child joined and I have never looked back.
The environment is so serene, and the way they make children have confidence in them. I have a last baby there too, and his confidence level has grown.
The KFH Montessori and High School, the school management says, was created to inspire the next generation of creative thinkers, teach creativity, explore and help to correct and encourage as well as educate leaders for a better tomorrow. Hawagimba, NTA.
Information technology outage hits global business, disrupting transactions around the world. The development has caused chaos in banking, securities outfits, airlines operations, including media outlets. Several European airports with customers being told to expect delays at check-in. The IT outage also hit companies grounding flights in US, derailing TV broadcasts in UK, hitting telecommunications in Australia. Over now to the business desk for business news.
International Monetary Fund (IMF) says global market growth remains unchanged and FAC shares 1.354 trillion in revenue with federal government, states and local governments. Many thanks for joining me on Business News. I am Serafina Okon-Umekwe. The Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC) has shared the sum of 1.354 trillion in revenue among the federal government, states and local governments. The revenue was shared at the July meeting of FAC held here in Abuja and chaired by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. Meanwhile, stakeholders in the solid mineral sector have called for the payment of 10% benefits to host communities as part of measures to build an environment that would ensure peaceful coexistence. These demands were tabled for deliberations on Wednesday at the public hearing of repeal and enactment of a bill titled Nigerian Mineral Development Company Limited Establishment Bill 2023, organized by the House of Representatives Committee on Solid Minerals. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) says global growth is projected to remain unchanged at 3.2% in 2024 and 3.3% in 2025. This is according to the IMF's latest World Economic Outlook (WEO) update report for July 2024. The global economy in a sticky spot released this week. The report said that the projection was in line with the April 2024 World Economic Outlook. There has been notable developments beneath the surface since the April World Economic Outlook. And that's too much we can take on Business News today. The news continues shortly. I am Serafina Okon-Umekwe.
Now let's see trending stories in the sports world.
Nigeria's Minister of Sports Development, Senator John Eno, has given assurances of the payment of all allowances of athletes that would be representing Nigeria at the Paris 2024 Olympics in France. Senator Eno said, as against what was becoming a norm of owing athletes, payment would be made before Team Nigeria departs from the venue. Government, he noted, has approved the budget for the 2024 Olympic Games. This, he believes, will serve as motivation to the athletes for podium finish. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) has appointed Abdullahi Isa, a veteran goalkeeper and former assistant coach, as the new head coach of the Super Sand Eagles. He is to be assisted by Christopher Kadiri and Bashar Samaila as goalkeeper trainer. The Super Sand Eagles are expected to depart Nigeria to Nouakchott this Friday for their 2024 Beach Soccer Africa Cup of Nations qualifying match against their Mauritanian counterparts, slated for this Saturday. In another development, Nigeria's Super Eagles have again dropped one place in the latest FIFA rankings released on Thursday. The Eagles, who dropped from 38th to 39th position in the world, still maintain its 5th position in Africa, with Morocco, Senegal, Egypt and Ivory Coast ahead of the 3-time African champions. With Sports Brief, Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
And before we go, here's a recap of the top stories. Protracted disagreement over new minimum wage has been put to rest as federal government and the organized labor come to a compromise. And FCT Commissioner of Police continues tour of boundary territories for effective policing.